Take two. Okay, well, that was a bit of a fail. I'll explain what happened. I haven't done any more of the questions, so we can kind of pick up where we left off, although this is probably now going to be split over two different recordings. Well, we'll make do with what we can. I'm sure you'll rejoin me in just a second. Okay, let's go. It's clearly not what was going on before, is it? There we go. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry about that. Are we in the same, is it the same link or is it in a different room is my question. I don't know whether this is literally the same live. I used the same Zoom to broadcast to YouTube Live. I had, yeah, my Mac just overheated and just decided it wanted to reboot itself. So that was a complete system reboot. Hopefully that doesn't happen in my real web class later on today. You think it's the same? Yeah, well, we'll figure out later on. I have no idea what happened there. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this question off and then I'll take some questions, or I can do another question if you like. Okay, so back to the question. I'm gonna just wipe this stage out and so that it makes some sense. Okay, so we've figured out that the new radioactivity, the radioactivity that was contributed after 30 seconds in the dark was 4.6 times 10 to the 27. Is everyone kind of with me on that? I'm gonna, again, you're gonna wait 12 seconds until you give me an answer. So I'm gonna assume that the answer is less in case I get low or no's, in which case I'll backtrack a little bit. Per carbon, I'm now, in fact, let's get rid of these guys because they don't make sense anymore. You get 8.5 times 10 to the 18. So the radioactivity per triphosphate, which has got 3 carbon atoms, is 8.5 times 10 to the 18 times by 3. So what does that work out to be? I wonder if anyone's got the answer for this yet. 8.5 times 10 to the power of 18. Nope, multiplied by 3. If I could use a calculator. Practicing using a calculator is another massive skill. 2.55 times 10 to the 19. And now we need to know, what do we need to know now? So we've got the total amount of radioactivity per triphosphate. And we've got the total amount of activity of the new. Well, we're going to have to divide the big one. How many times does the small one fit into the big one? So it's 4.6 times 10 to the 27 divided by 2.55 times 10 to the 19. So 4.6 times 10 to the power of 27. It's a big number. Divided by my previous answer. Oh no, not divided by that up there. This is why you need to get good at using your calculator, because I'll show you what I've put in on my calculator. I don't know if that's going to show, like, that is not what I intended to go into the screen. And so, like, you have to put some brackets around each of these to make it work. 2.55. I'll show you what I put on my screen before I hit go, to the power of 19. Okay, so you can't see it all. Okay, so you should be able to see. Oh, let me just come out of screen sharing because it'll be tiny. And then you want to go this way. Okay, so like I put it in brackets, and that is the most surefire way of actually. And then you actually get a number that is not in standard form on this calculator, but you can easily see that that's 1.8. Well, I'll write out the number just to show it out. What came out on my calculator was 180392156.9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We put the decimal place in here, so it's 1.8 times 10 to the 8. So the answer is indeed B. Okay, so the live is back. Yeah, I don't know. It was my Mac totally crashed. Okay, so how long we got? You got 10 minutes. Do you want to do another math skills question? I've got one lined up here. Or do you want to, I'll share my screen just so you can see the final workings on there. I'll give you a choice. I haven't really been paying much attention to the chat. Let's just see. We are basically doing that full web class on Monday. Monday the 6th, 6 o'clock is when Rich, Ronnie, and I are going to do a web class, how to improve a grade in a month. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. 4.6 is the difference between the first two conditions. Quite right. Ask a question. Yes, now go for it. Okay, so Harris, do you still need to learn content, or do you need to improve your exam technique, or do you need both? If you still need to learn content, then the ultimate guide is the fastest way of learning the content. If your content knowledge is rock solid and you just want to learn how I do papers, basically how I analyze questions and how I know what's going on in the question and how I answer them, then the revision kit is what you need. Or if you need both of that, then obviously you can get both. It's cheaper to get both together, but they are the two options. It depends where your biggest weakness is, or try both. Try the free trial, because you can test out ultimate guide video tutorials in there, and you can test out revision kit tutorials in there, and you'll then see it for yourself. There's no better way of nothing I say is going to prove it to you or how effective it is. There's loads of students who are using it now and have seen, like, I get emails every single day about, oh, I bought it last week and it's already changed the way that I revise. It's already changed the way that I study, and I've already improved like a grade in like a week. It's amazing seeing. And if you have seen the difference, then let people know in the chat or leave a review on Facebook, wherever. Go read the reviews. If you're not sure, if you think that I'm just here telling you that I'm going to do great things, go read the reviews. Don't take it from me. I don't expect you to take it from me. Okay, let's do one more. I've got one lined up here. Well, that's another year 2 question. I'll do something year 1 so that you guys, spoilers for my web class later on. That's going to be awkward because I don't have a ruler. That's a little sneaky one. I'm only going to give to my real web class people. It's going to take too long to do that now. It's mean, it's too easy. Calculating rates. Let's maybe do a little, let's do a little rates question. This is super common. Okay, so let's do this one. How long we got? We've got 8 minutes. Let's fly through it. Okay, this is from an OCR paper, totally relevant to everyone. Don't matter if you don't have to do the ECG. It's irrelevant. This could be heart rate. This could be breathing rate. This could be any rhythm that has a repeating thing. So you've got to find the rate. So I'm just going to zoom in here. This is a normal heartbeat. Basically, what you need to know is that this signifies 1 beat. So the time between here and here is 1 heartbeat. Or you could go from this one to this one if you wanted to. When you're looking for rates on graphs, you're looking for the most identifiable. You could go from this peak to this peak if you wanted to. It doesn't matter if it's a repeating cycle, then you just need to find the most identifiable feature, or the feature which sits really nicely on a square of the graph paper. Okay, so let's look at the question first of all. Calculate the percentage increase. Now with percentage change, you're either going to be told the percentage increase or find the percentage decrease, and sometimes it says the percentage change. And obviously, if it's going from A to B, if A is 10 and B is 100, going from A to B is going to increase. But if you're going from B to A, it's a decrease. And these numbers will often be wildly different, especially if you're working in log form. So just be aware, is the question asking you for percentage increase? In which case, obviously, you'd have to be going from A to B. Is it asking for a percentage decrease? In which case, you'd have to give it B to A. Or is it saying percentage change? In which case, you have a choice of which way you sort of arrange the question, depending on what the actual question says. So this is percentage increase. for the person with tachycardia compared to the person with normal heart rhythm. Use the data between points A and B on the graph and between C and D on the graph. Give your answers to the nearest whole number. Okay, so what's the percentage increase in heart rate? So this person is normal. So okay, so we're gonna have to use the scale. 5 squares is 0.2 seconds. So 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 1 second. 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 2 seconds. 0.4, 2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 3, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. So it's 1, 2, 3.8 seconds. How many heartbeats were there? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beats. 5. I'm going to put heartbeats. Okay, so that's the normal person. We can work out the rate in a second. Let's do the same for down there. Always check your scales. It's the same here. It doesn't have to be the same. This could be a different scale, but again, we've got 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 1, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 2, 0.2, 0.4. So we've got 2.4 seconds. Here, how many beats do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Effectively, it's just outside D actually, which is a bit of a cause for concern. This looks to be pretty much on the line here. It's just over. It's just over. And this is definitely, I'm just going to remove my squiggle here. So what to do in the exam here? Do we call this 5? I don't think we do, to be honest with you. It would actually be, it's actually 1 square off. I bet they'll allow a range because you're interpreting it from the graph. It's basically, for the simplicity of today, I'm going to call it 5, not beats per minute, 5 heartbeats in 2.4 seconds. So now we need to find the rate for both of them. So you can either do that per second or per minute. Let's do 5. This is, I'm going to lay it out in 2 columns. Normal, which is, this is normal. This iPad is not on a proper screen. And this is, I'm just going to call it fast. You don't need to know the tachycardia bit if you're not OCR. So normal heart rate is 5 divided by 3.8 seconds equals, this is going to give me beats per second. 5 divided by 3.8. 1.315 7, 8, ... I'm going to keep that on my calculator, or I'll probably key it in again. You don't want to be rounding any figures at this point. And you've got 2.4 at 5 beats in 2.4 seconds. Gives you 2.083 recurring beats per second. This is beats per second. Okay, now we can go back to the question. We are looking for the percentage increase. So what do we do now? Now I can throw this back over to you guys just a little bit. We've calculated the rates. What do we do next? We need to know the percentage increase. So this is basically going to be 100%. How much has it increased by? I'm going to give you a bit of time to think about it. Again, it's going to be more effective for you if you actually put your mind to it. Change over total. Okay, Rebecca, you nailed it. Okay, so what's the increase? Well, the increase is the difference, isn't it? So the increase is 2.083 recurring minus 1.31578. That's the difference. And you want that as a percentage. You want that of the increase, which means it's this one over here. So 1.31578, and then this would need to be times by 100 to give us our percentage. And also, before you punch any numbers into your calculator, what's it going to be? We're going from 1.3 to 2.1. So we're going 1.3 to 2. Has it doubled? Well, doubling would be 2.6. So a doubling is 100% increase. So we're looking for a number that's less than 100%. Okay, so we've got some very similar figures coming out here. Again, that's probably the difference. We've got 58.34, 58.33, 59.32. So again, ideally on your calculator, you want to be keeping the full figures. You don't want to be rounding prematurely. That's why I've written out so many decimal places here. If I was doing this for real in the exam, then I would probably do it as a fraction. I would probably key in open bracket 5 divided by 3.8 close bracket. In fact, it's the other way around, isn't it? I want to do the big one first. Let's do the big one. So it would be 5 divided by 2.4 close bracket minus open brackets 5 divided by 3.8 equals divided by, and then again I'd do 5 divided by 3.8 instead of keying in 1.3 something like that. This number times 100 on my calculator, yeah, comes out at 58.33 recurring percent. But what does the actual question ask us to do to the nearest whole number? 58. Dunsky. 5:31, 1 minute overrun. I'll take one question, but then I'm going to go get ready for my Ultimate Guide web class. Calculating rate change is like a classic on two fronts. First of all, you're calculating what's the heart rate in, I did it in beats per second because that was the most sensible unit over here, but you are calculating cardiac cycle and how long is a cardiac cycle, how many breaths per minute, how many, these are like really classic questions. And then calculating percentage change is also a super duper classic question. So that is, they are two really, really common things. That's why I kind of wanted, that's why I picked that question at the end there. Yeah, practicing calculator skills. Thanks, Finn, for your calculator advice. Okay, so how do we know which part of the denominator for percentage change? I think that's a really good question. You mean, do you divide by the original one or do you divide by the original, the normal or the fast, as I had it on mine? Brackets are very important, especially with things like this, because you can easily go down, like just miss a bracket, or as I keyed it in on the first question, I keyed it in slightly wrong, and then yeah, the whole answer would have been totally toast. Okay, well, how do we know? This is a percentage increase. So the fast one is faster than the normal. So it's an increase based upon what the original data point was. Okay, so if I gave it, maybe I could draw it out. Maybe I could just screen share and figure something out. It's super duper hot in here. I need to iPad by cable. Okay, so if let's do A is 10 and B is 20, we'll make it fairly straightforward here. So A is 10 and B is 20. So we know that this doubles if we're going in this direction, which is an increase of 100%. So the difference, you would do 20 minus 10, which is going to be 10, and then divided by the original, it's going to equal 1 times 100, gives us our 100% increase. You can always set yourself little scenarios to make it more straightforward. Maybe those numbers, maybe, okay, so let's have maybe 10 and 15. This is a 50% increase. What's the, okay, so let's work out the percentage decrease. Maybe this will make it a bit easier. So what's the decrease here? Now this is not as straightforward. So the difference here is we're going backwards now. We're going from, I'm going to actually delete my first arrow, and 50%. So if we're going, what's the percentage decrease? We know it's a decrease, it's going down. We could do 10 minus 15 equals minus 5. We totally could do minus 5. As long as you know it's a decrease, then you can. And now this, because we're starting with this value, needs to be over 15. What is 5 over 15? It's 33%, isn't it? Of course it's a third. Equals, well, this will equal 0.33 recurring, which when we times it by 100 will give us our 33% decrease. So it all depends on which is the biggest number. This asked for an increase, and therefore we had to start with the smallest number. If we're going for a decrease, we have to start with the biggest number and then go to the smallest number. So that's what goes on the bottom. I think that's probably the easiest way of, does that make sense to you guys? If it says percentage change, then if sometimes you can do either or. You can say, but you would need to specify the change from A to B is 50% increase. The change from B to A is a 33% decrease. It would totally depend on the question. There's some of them you can give it either way. And sometimes they're crazy different numbers. If there's a big difference between, you know, if it's like, if it starts as 10 and the other number is 50,000, 10 to 50,000 is a big increase, and 50,000 to 10 is a massive decrease. It's a different, it will be a different scale, those answers. Okay, that's me done. I'm going to go get ready for my my math skills web class. I'm about to do a whole bunch of questions. I can in fact even just show you some of the questions. Oh, I'm not screen sharing anymore. I've got like a whole load of, some of them are submitted by my subscribers. So that first question I did with you, the photosynthesis question, was actually a question that was asked to me on the course about 2 weeks ago, and I like, I'm not sure. And then they asked me again, like, have you figured this out yet? And I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. And then I spent 10 minutes looking at it the other day and then figured it out and wrote my answer. So thanks for joining, guys. Monday next week. What's happening Monday next week? What do I use for my mustache? Mustache, I actually made my own mustache wax. I bought some beeswax, and it's too stiff, beeswax on its own. So it's beeswax and some coconut oil mixed in a ratio that softens it up a little bit. 2018 papers are released on Saturday. So yeah, they're all going into the revision kit on the 4th. I'm pretty sure that's Saturday anyway. Okay, wonderful, amazing. You bet there's maths questions in the revision kit. Of course there are. There's a whole section in the revised by topic, all the maths questions put together. So you can just like go through them and do all the maths questions and then realize what you need to do. Harris, what's your question? How long is the Ultimate Guide course? In terms of hours, year 1 is about 40. Off the top of my head, don't hold me to it. If someone wants to go and add them up and tell me, then I'd love to know. I could. It's about 40 hours in year 1 and a shade of 45 maybe year 2. About 80 hours total. 2 years worth of content in school. For HUD, you've finished your A-level 2017 biology paper right now. Once you mark it, should you do them again? What you should do for HUD is find your 3 questions that cost you the most marks. Work out why you lost the marks. Was it skills knowledge that you dropped, or was it content knowledge that you dropped? Improve, go and spend 1 action hour on each of those 3 questions, improving that topic knowledge using your ultimate guide if you have it, the textbook, whatever you need to do to improve your content knowledge, do past paper questions on those topics to tune up those areas. Then you redo the whole paper, close book, and you'll see, and you keep doing that. That's your, oh, Harris, you can definitely get through it in a month. Yeah, we've had people, I wonder if I've got the file here. Give me 1 second. Course completion. It's an image, that much I know. I took a screenshot. Last time we ran an unlimited free trial for the week where people could log in and do whatever they wanted for the week. We had, I think it was like 80 people completed the course in a week. 82, something like that. So you've got May half term coming up. You've got a full week in May half term, and obviously you've got 3 or 4 weeks, 4 weeks until May half term. So you've got heaps of time if you use it wisely. I mean, to complete the 90% for the money back guarantee, you're going to have to put some work in, definitely, but it's totally doable. Yeah, it's about, that's a great question, Harris. I will figure that out over the summer, because I'm working crazy hours and I'm not going to go adding up the number of minutes in each of my videos between now and then. Hi, Ahmed. I've taught quite a lot of Ahmeds. Where would I remember you from? I'm going to come back next week. I've got to go prepare for my regular web class. So I'm going to jump out of this room now. Come back Tuesday, 5 o'clock next week. I will be here. Save up your questions. You can ask questions. I'll schedule. What I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule this live event on YouTube, so you can see it. You can ask me questions in the chat beneath the live video. But when I actually do the live, I'm going to broadcast it from Zoom, which means that it won't be the same actual video, because Zoom, I can share my iPad. It's like just way cleaner for me to use. If I use the Hangouts on Air, which is the other option, it's just clunky. I can't share my screen properly. So ask your comments on there. I'll review them through the week. I'll take the first couple of things. We'll do 30 minutes. I've done 40 minutes today. Yeah, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Be there. I might even jump on a few minutes early if I can, but I can't overrun too much because I've got too many commitments. See you later, guys.